Hello, my friends, and welcome to today's class. This is a Vinyasa class suitable for all levels, but it will be a little fiery, and we're focusing on the core. Let's begin today at the back of the mat. Spread the knees wide, toes touch. Walk the hands out ahead of you and drop the forehead for child's pose. Begin our practice here, taking a few deep breaths in, starting to slow the breath down. Feeling the air fill up the belly and the chest on the inhales, and then empty it all on the exhales. Relax the shoulders, relax the hips. One more nice big deep breath here. And then on your inhale, let's find our way up to tabletop. Tuck the toes, shoulders are over the wrists, hips are over the knees. Just start warming up our wrists here. So let's just press into the mat with the fingers and raise the back of the wrists off of the mat. Do this 10 times, nice and slowly with control. This might burn a little bit, that is okay. I am right there with you. Take a pause after you've done your 10, and we'll flip the hands so the fingers point to the knees, maybe sinking back into the hips just a little bit, adding on to the stretch. Keeping that breath nice and full. And then we'll switch, coming to the backs of the hands. Fingers are pointed inwards. Shoulders are still stacked over the wrists. Crown of the head stays lifted. Think the hips back onto the heels. We'll just roll out the wrists a few times here before finding our way back to tabletop and moving through some cat-cows. So on your own breath, let's take a big inhale, arch the back, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch the back, look up. Exhale, round. 2 more just like that on your own breath. Inhale. And exhale. And last one here. Inhale. And exhale. You may need to shift your weight just a little bit further up your mat, depending on how much space is behind you. Still staying in the tabletop, we're going to reach out with our right foot. Find your balance, reach with the left arm, and then on your exhale, let's squeeze that knee to the elbow. For 1, inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze for 2. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze for 3. Inhale, 4. Last one. 5. Awesome. Reach out, reach, reach, reach. Keep that leg and that arm up. And then exhale, bring it all down, and we'll switch sides. Let's find our balance. Lift that left leg up, squeeze into the glutes. Right leg reaches out. Big inhale. And then exhale, knee to elbow. Squeeze for 1. For 2. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze for 3. Reach and squeeze for 4. Last one. Awesome work. And 5. Take a big inhale. Reach that arm and that leg out. And then exhale. Come back down to neutral spine in tabletop. Let's check in with the hands. Make sure they're underneath the shoulders. And then we're going to inhale, hover the knees for 1 breath. Stay here for 5, 2, 3, for 4, and 5. Release those knees down. Excellent work. Let's walk our hands forward. Send the hips up to the sky for our first downward facing dog. Taking a moment to pedal out the feet, bending into each knee, maybe shifting the hips a little bit from side to side. Just finding a nice stretch here before we find some stillness. Nice big deep breaths here. Bending into those knees as much as we need to, not worrying if the heels touch the floor. And then we'll gaze between our hands, take a big step up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach those arms up overhead. Look up. Exhale, hands through heart center. And let's start moving through some sun salutations. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step or hop back. Coming down through chaturanga and upward facing dog. Finding our way back to downward facing dog. This time when we pedal out, let's really roll into those shoulders. Nice slow movement, stretching out the sides of the body. Nice core stretch here, getting all into the sides, into the front, and into the back. And then finding some stillness for a few breaths here. Bring that gaze to the top of the mat. Inhale, step up, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach those arms up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Moving again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, plant the hands, step or hop back, come down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale, raise that right foot nice and high. Exhale, shift the weight over the shoulders, knee to nose. We're going to drop that knee down to the right arm, the left arm, the nose, and then back up. Exhale, knee comes to nose, right wrist, left wrist, nose, and then inhale, kick it back up. Do one more like that. Knee to nose, wrist, wrist, nose, and then inhale, kick it back up. Release that foot, and we will switch sides. Inhale, lift that left foot up. Shift the weight forward as we exhale, squeeze, and bring that knee to the nose. Down to the right wrist, left wrist, nose, and then inhale up. Nice work. Exhale, knee to nose, wrist, wrist, nose, and come back up. Last one like that. Knee to nose, wrist, wrist, nose, and inhale, reach that leg back up. Exhale, let's step it back down to our downward facing dog. Excellent work. Feel that warmth in the belly. And we'll inhale, take the gaze to the top of the mat, step up, look up. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step it back, come down through your chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's look to the top of the mat, step up with the right foot, pivot on the left. And we're going to come up to our triangle legs. So inhale, straighten that front leg. You might need to shift that left leg in just a little bit. Reach forward with the torso, and then we'll come down, drop that right arm down to the floor. If you'd like to add on, reach that left arm overhead and grab on as if you were holding a big beach ball, bringing that right arm up to meet it. Staying wherever feels comfortable here. And then we'll cartwheel the hands down, come down through a vinyasa. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and we will switch sides. Take a big step up with that left foot, pivot on the right. Bring the arms up nice and high. And then we'll reach forward with that left arm. Bring that upper body down, keeping it nice and tall. Shoulders stay stacked. And once again, if you'd like to add on, let's grab onto our beach ball. So rotate that right shoulder up and overhead and bring the left up to meet it. Really engaging the core here. Feeling that fire. And then inhale, we'll come up, cartwheel the hands, come back down through a vinyasa. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Great work, everyone. Let's inhale, step it up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands through heart center. Let's take a moment to pause here in Tadasana, catch the breath. Slow the breathing down. Feel all that warmth we've just built in the body. And we'll start moving again here. So big inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. And we'll come down through our chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Let's shift our weight forward. We're going to roll onto our right foot. Right shoulder stays over that right arm, coming into our version of side plank, knowing that if you'd like to step that left leg over for some support, you're welcome to do so, or alternatively come into your variation of this pose. So whatever you have in your practice. And then we'll exhale, step it back down, we'll switch sides. So rolling all that weight over to the left shoulder, right arm stays stacked, and then finding your expression of the pose. Trying to keep those hips sent up nice and high. Breath stays full. And then with control, let's place that right hand back on the mat. Take a pause in high plank. Nice big deep breath in. And then we'll slowly lower through chaturanga, finding our way to the mat. Placing the right cheek on the mat just for a moment. And then we'll inhale, bring those elbows together underneath the shoulders. Palms are flat, coming into a sphinx, drawing the chest forward. Breathing here, and then release down. Bring those hands underneath the shoulders. And we're going to inhale here, draw those feet up towards the sky, lifting the chest off the mat for a supported half locust. And then exhale, release down. Take a breath, and then we're going to come right back into the full expression of lotus. So roll those shoulders back, reach back with the arms, press that pelvic bone into the floor, and we reach those feet up towards the sky. Keeping the breath nice and full here. Really engaging that core. And then release down, this time letting the left cheek fall to the mat. And for the next round, I'll invite you to either take the full expression with the front of the body up or to keep the hands on the mat. Either way, we're going to draw that pelvic bone into the floor, raise those feet, and then we're going to just flutter them. So just as if we're kicking through some water. If you're in the full expression, keep those shoulders rolled up. Make sure we're breathing. And then exhale, release it down. Let's find our way back to child's pose. Toes touch, knees are wide, and our head is relaxed on the mat. Taking a moment here, catching the breath. Inhale, press through the hands, step that right foot up, bend through the leg, let that knee fall out to the side for our version of pigeon, keeping it nice and active here for the first few breaths. So we'll take a big inhale, roll those shoulders back, squeeze into that lower back, and sit up nice and tall, maybe reaching the hands and the fingertips towards the floor. Pressing that left hip down to the floor, keeping the crown of the head lifted. And then as we exhale, let's just slowly walk the hands down in front of us, either staying up on forearms or coming down all the way into the full expression. Taking a few breaths here, making sure there's no pinching, no pain. And then we'll start pulsing here. So press into the hands, inhale, raise the chest, exhale, float it all down. Inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, and then this time we'll stay down, stacking the hands and placing the forehead on top of the hands. Inhale, press through those hands, come back up, and then we'll roll over on the hips, drawing that left leg forward, and then just windshield wipe the knees a few times. Just bringing some movement into those hips before we switch sides. So switching sides, let's extend that right leg behind us, nice and flat on the floor. Finding our nice version of active pigeon here. So once again, rolling those shoulders back and reaching down towards the floor. A few nice deep breaths here. And then as we exhale, let's walk the hands down, again to forearms or all the way down before we move through some pulses here. So let's press the hands firmly in as we inhale to lift. Exhale down. Inhale, raise that chest, look up. Exhale down. One more like that. Inhale, lift. And exhale down. Once again, this time staying down. Maybe taking an assist from your chihuahua. Placing the forehead on top of the hands and just relaxing down once again. Nice deep breaths here. Breathing all the way into that hip joint. And then pressing through the hands. Let's come back up to seated. Same thing, we'll windshield wipe the knees again, rolling back onto the hips. And then we'll plant the feet ahead of us. We're going to slowly roll down, so check behind you, make sure you have enough space. And then let's roll down as slow as you can, one vertebrae at a time. Nice controlled movements here. Eventually resting the shoulders and the head on the mat. Let's inhale the knees up to 90 degrees. And we're just going to work on extending one leg and then the other. So right and then left. Extend the right leg and then the left. Just working through a few bicycle kicks before we slow it down for the practice. Getting into the hip flexors and the lower abdominal muscles here. And last two. Holding at center. And we'll straighten the legs, slowly reach them down towards the floor. And we'll inhale, draw those feet up towards the hips. Just taking one moment here, getting ready for some twists. So it's up to you the expression of the twist you want to do. You can either cross the legs over one another, shift the hips to the right, and let the knees fall over to the left, or just shift the hips and let the knees fall as they are. Whatever expression you're taking, let's make sure that right shoulder is staying glued to the floor and that our breath is staying nice and full. There's no straining, no struggling. Just relaxing into this, drawing that right hip away from the left shoulder. Then bringing that gaze back to center, shuffle the hips back to neutral, and we'll switch sides. So send the hips over to the left side. If you're crossing your knees on the other side, let's do it again on this side. And release the knees down to the right side. Staying here for a few breaths. Maybe closing the eyes, finding a soft spot to gaze. And keeping that left shoulder glued towards the floor. Inhale, let's bring the gaze back to center. Send the hips back to neutral. We'll place one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly, and just take one moment here before we inhale to roll the knees up towards the chest. Coming into a little ball, hugging the knees. And then finally exhaling, release the legs down. Release everything in the body, just relaxing into a quick Shavasana. Letting go of any controlled breathing. And just coming to that place of stillness on your mat. Let's slowly bring our feet back up, Plant the feet on the floor. We'll grab the back of the legs and then slowly rock up to seated. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's close today's practice with one nice sigh. So inhale, roll the shoulders up and back. Big inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. That's all for today's practice. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Stay humble.